About 7 years ago, the first game in Atelier's mysterious trilogy, Atelier Sophie, the Alchemist of the Mysterious Book, was released as the newest part of the Atelier series, shaking things up in ways the new Atelier trilogies tend to do. It featured recipe writing, a panel-based synthesis system, chain attacks, and an interesting new leveling system, and most of all, a likable cast with the wonderful Sophie at the helm, and began a trilogy full of stories with interesting phenomenons that I think helped lead to the more adventurous Atelier games we see today. 7 years later, the unexpected sequel, Atelier Sophie 2, The Alchemist of the Mysterious Dream, is just about to be released worldwide, and I've been lucky enough to have been playing it a lot recently and seeing just how well it meets my expectations and reminds me exactly why I love the series. Additionally though, I was struck at the beginning of the game how well it links to the first Atelier Sophie while still being newcomer friendly, with a few points getting me excited about how the two games are connected and how, despite it looking better than the first one, it manages to continue Sophie's world in this fun new game. So in this video, I want to talk about that and my initial impressions of this new Atelier game that I think will satisfy new fans and old in its dream-filled Atelier world. Even in the first 5 minutes of Atelier Sophie 2, I found myself impressed with how clear it made Sophie 2's place in the Mysterious Trilogy, especially if you played the trilogy in its entirety. We can see from the opening lines that Sophie 2 is set somewhere between the end of Atelier Sophie and before Atelier Firis, as Sophie has just decided she wants to become a licensed alchemist, which is what we find her doing in Firis. Due to a whirlwind of events, this doesn't go quite to plan, and it ends up with Sophie and Plofta entering a dream world, and the clear premise for Atelier Sophie 2 is set as they end up in this strange world trying to find each other. This feeling isn't just in its opening lines though, as within its systems there are many nods to the original that make it easy to see that the two are connected and that you could probably even play them in succession fairly comfortably. For example, Sophie starts off in this sequel at level 20, exactly the level cap of Atelier Sophie, which had me way too excited as it feels like you're continuing right where you left off. The synthesis, which I'll talk more about soon, also incorporates a linking element that makes it complement playing Firis after too, even if the system is more sophisticated in this one. And there's also other elements from Sophie in the Mysterious Trilogy, such as the recipe book, where you can fulfill goals to get new ones, and the fact that the synthesis panel from the Mysterious Trilogy and grid synthesis has returned, making it easy to see that a lot of care was put into making this entry fit into the Mysterious Trilogy as a whole, while still being modern enough to make it accessible to Sophie newcomers as well. In fact, I think you don't need to worry much if you're someone looking to try Atelier through Sophie 2 for the first time, or if you're coming from the Rise games, despite the systems being a little different, as everything is explained clearly in tutorials in a way that is also really helpful for someone like myself who hasn't played with these systems in a long time too. And if it really is your first time in Sophie's world, Sophie 2 also has a story so far movie on its start screen, which allows newcomers to know what they need to know and refresh fans of the series too, alongside all the character explanations that are added to the menu as their reference that take care of all types of players wanting to fully understand this world. I really appreciate the effort to keep everyone in the loop in this entry, especially since games like Atelier Arlen's surprise 4th entry Atelier Lulua or the more recent Rise 2 didn't do this so much, and it's nice to see that everyone can play with a good understanding of Sophie's world to help them truly understand and enjoy this new Sophie story as she explores a mysterious world. I could leave this video just to be about who can enjoy Sophie 2, but I've actually played a fair bit of it, even though I haven't quite finished it yet, but I'll be over 17 hours in by the time this video goes up. As a huge Atelier fan, these hours have been so much fun thanks to the Atelier gameplay loop that I already love, and also the updates to it that make it even more addictive. I've done so many quests on my way to doing things thanks to the fact the quest icon sits above enemies or the place of materials you need on the map, making it so easy to find them while you're doing things for the main story. These things are usually so nearby or on the way to something important that I almost always end up doing them, giving Sophie 2 that distracting shiny thing in the distance feeling I enjoyed so much from Pokemon Arceus recently too, except with the materials and enemies of Atelier I enjoy so much that have me happy to feel that here too. Gathering and battles new additions have been nice too, with my new favorite field activity being to change the weather and seeing which new paths suddenly open up, a thing that only makes sense in this kind of dream world that takes advantage of the setting well. well. I also like how the attacks using multiple party members from Atelier Sophie has been brought in with the new twin action system, and while battle is turn-based this time, it has that active feeling of being able to change the battle on the fly by switching a new party member in, with the pacing feeling similar to the battle system in Blue Reflection Second Light with how cool this looks too. It's a good balance between the turn-based system of the first Sophie and the pacing of newer Atelier that makes it fun to play with as I continue to unlock new mechanics in it. And it wouldn't be an Atelier without the synthesis system, and its updates have felt good to play with too. It was actually kind of refreshing to go back to the grid-based system after the very visual system of the Ryza games, maybe as a fan who's played many entries, but the panel system also keeps the visual element there for those who like that part and have made it much more simple to get your materials to work together in a fun bingo-like system. For example, you can link adjacent materials together by stars, with doing that leading to getting your item effects to those higher levels, but you also have to try and fill out every panel to get a boost to the chance of achieving a super synthesis that greatly raises quality, and this partnered in with allies coming to help if you meet certain requirements makes for a very strategic system that made me want to do it right every time, which I'm especially happy about as someone who found the linking element more difficult in Furious. It's clear to see they've tried to make that aspect more visual in a way that I think makes more sense, and I've also found doing synthesis very easy to get wrapped up in, as rotating and trying to make things fit together well feels puzzle-like in a way, but even better as you get to use the items you make from it, and even the tutorial seemed a little better explained too, as I found it easy to follow things step by step, so I hope that makes it easier for newcomers to pick up and enjoy too, as I've been having a lot of fun with it so far. Finally, the story full of lovable characters has been great too, with the fact that there are 2 ideas of Plafta in this entry helping make this game accessible with old fans like myself able to care more about what's happened to the Plafta we know, but the cute version of her in Sophie 2 being fascinating to watch grow almost like a unique and new character. And the whole cast stories being explored in the many events of Sophie 2 is pleasant as ever to enjoy, especially as these events feel like good rewards for raising your friendship with them in battle, and later in the game come benefits to watching them that have made me happy for all the times I've sat down with a coffee and watched them on auto, as I've enjoyed getting to know this fun group of characters as they interact with the still very lovable Sophie. I feel like I'm either halfway or a third into the story right now, with some potential twists still possible at this point, but the most important thing is that I'm enjoying it, and you bet right after making this video I'll be playing it more and more to dive back into this fantastic world of Sophie 2, in this sequel that makes its mechanics feel like a dream too, and is the best present I could have asked for during Atelier's 25th anniversary year so far. Whether you know Sophie or not, Atelier Sophie 2 is a great way to dive back into the series in 2022 thanks to the way it brings this world into modern Atelier while still being faithful to the original. The way it links perfectly to the first one was really nice to see, along with all the mechanics feeling nostalgic too, but with the smoothness of modern Atelier that many will greatly appreciate, especially with it being clear that it's learned lessons from the Ateliers that preceded it that make it fit perfectly into the Mysterious trilogy, but also into the Atelier series as a whole. And because of that, despite it not having the active sense that Atelier Ryza does, little additions like the rewards for linking well in synthesis and being able to chain attacks in battles feels good and satisfies that itch, and I'm sure there are more things to discover to make things feel even deeper and more colorful as I continue in its dream world, and I'm very excited to keep playing. As an Atelier fan, I'm very happy to say that I'm loving it so far, as it satisfies my own personal Atelier itch while being addictive too, and as a fan of good games and Gust's work, it's great to see them once again applying all the lessons they've learned from their newer titles to make a world that feels varied and fun to adventure in, and I hope people enjoy it as it comes out on the 25th with all its satisfying exploring and mysterious story to continue in that I hope many decide to jump into. Thank you for watching this video. Let me know in the comments below if you plan to pick up Sophie 2, and if you do end up picking it up, feel free to let me know how you're enjoying it. You can like and share this video if you enjoyed it, subscribe to my channel for more JRPG content like this, and ring that bell to get notifications on whenever I post so you don't miss a thing. You can check out more videos here, and you can find me on social media on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, all at JRPG Jungle. Links to those will be in the description below. Thank you to Koei Tecmo for the code, and until next time, thank you, bye!